This is 1812, Battle of Interdimensional Rift. Like, what is this thing? I've never really played with any of these people before. I know of some of them, but that's about it. All right, let's watch this.
Up, it's your boy, One Some Mother again. Back at it with some fresh drama right off the stove. First off,
all right, I'm gonna be real. 7 seconds in, I'm already invested.
I have to apologize. There will be no Subway Surfer gameplay this time around because I keep getting DMC'd on YouTube.
What is Surfer? What is that? All right, I'm going to tell you guys right now that I have a feeling that this is going to be filled with memes that I have no idea about. So I'm going to need some explanations. It's a mobile game. Okay.
So I decided this time I'm just going to play my own gameplay. But I know you're all here for the drama, so...
Bro, I'm going to be honest, man. Look at this monitor, man. What are you doing? What are you doing, dude? This monitor ain't even close. And what the f is this guy doing? You know what? No, I take it back. Malachite probably saw this guy and's like, what the f are you doing? So I'm going to help you.
But I know you're all here for the drama, so let's just get into it. So there I was, sitting in my room at around 1 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon when I had received a DM from Wubbs, in which he linked a Twitch...
Wubbs? Who's Wubbs? A Claire Squad.
In which he linked a Twitch VOD and told me that I had received my first mid-sheet hater.
Okay, so this is top completionists. Okay, so these are like the, these are the people that are helping people get clears. Okay.
Now, upon hearing this, I wasn't exactly surprised because, trust me, this isn't the first time someone's hated on the mid-sheet. But I was curious nonetheless on what they had to say about the sheet, so I clicked on the VOD and it brought me onto this person's Twitch channel. Now, first off, we got a Final Fantasy related name and Final Fantasy profile picture, and believe me, we are already off to a bad start. But nonetheless, I try to keep an open mind. And then I wanted to hear what they had to say.
Okay.
I'm sure Wubbs was just over-exaggerating when he called him a hater, and I'm sure what this guy had to say was measured and well thought out, well composed. There's no way anybody would act like a jackass on Twitch.
Dude, NA are so unbelievably shit at MIT plans, man. I'm so glad we don't use this shit.
Me, man, it's a
What's wrong with the MIT plan? Maybe he'll explain.
fucking oi, bruh, from Gloucester. I don't know if I'm...
This is very funny to me.
gonna be able to sit through this whole thing. Disclaimer, I don't hate EU and I don't hate British people. I just think it's funny when some bloke from EU tries to shit on NA or vice versa. Like, it's a video game. You're playing Final Fantasy and you're talking about PF. You're one Twinkie away from becoming like the rest of us. Settle the down, man. Chill. Anyway, let's see what else he had to say.
If I had to hold my passage of arms down for a block, do you know what I would be doing? I'd be dying, because I'm not doing that. Clueless ass so.
That actually just shows that he's a shit player because it's really easy to hit a GCD, hold your block, and then spam your GCD because once you hit a GCD and you hold your block, like you hold that, it's not like spamming your GCD is going to cancel it. You can literally hold your block for an entire GCD as it's spinning. Does he not know that it's an off GCD? Like, so in top, a really good usage of passage of arms is when you're taking like the second wave cannon, you can hit a GCD, passage the party, get the block for yourself, and then hit, like basically you don't miss a GCD and you get the MIT. I don't see how, like, does this person not know how that works? I mean, this is probably why he cleared like a whole month late. I mean, you know what? I'm kind of curious. I want to see if he died to a wave cannon by not holding his lock.
I was like, oh yeah, why do we come to EU to do ultimates? Because you do this shit.
First off, you don't have to hold passage for block. Like, you don't need it to live. We just put it there because we want to be consistent. In an actual run, sometimes shit happens. Sometimes people forget to press their mid. How many times have you seen a melee forget to press feint? And again, I have to reiterate, the sheet is not designed for Opti. It never was. This is what we found to be the most consistent for getting people their first time clears.
I just want to reiterate that Rec actually is talking about optimization, but he doesn't know anything about optimization because he's number 3. Ooh. Number 3.
If you want to make changes to it, go ahead. If you don't want to use it, fine by me. I'm not going to care. It's not like I'm holding a funnel down your ass and shoving it up there. Secondly, I don't know what kind of copium you're on, but nobody, I promise you, nobody is going to EU to raid.
You have a disease. Like, what the is this? Rampart, Bulwark, Sheltron, Buddy Mitt Intervention. Right, okay, good one. You are stupid.
Takes one to know one.
Why is that stupid?
You know why you're stupid?
No, I'm not!
Because if you use that intervention on the dive, it means you can't hit one of the DPS during meteors. You idiot. You do
I don't think that's true. That's not true at all, actually.
not get enough gauge.
I mean, I guess unless you detarget the boss. I mean, I use target mitts for meteors. Yeah, you should. It's free. Why wouldn't you? I always mit the ranged because they're the ones that matter. The melee don't matter as much as the range and caster because if they die, then it's over. If you have a melee die, you just res them.
You do not get enough gauge. You know what happens if you do that? Caster dies. Or range dies.
You got me.
Well done, sir. Bravo. You have won me over with your soaring rhetoric, and I concede completely. But for the sake of my further education, why don't we look through one of your VODs, just to be sure? In front of us, I have a VOD of Requies Cat main tanky as Paladin, ready to put on a masterclass.
Hell yeah.
Let's see how a master does it. Holy Sheltron goes out. No intervention. Superb. Beautiful. But what is a master without critics? Let's keep an eye on his oath gauge, just to be sure.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Here we go. Here we go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oath gauge has hit 100, next auto should be coming. He is overcapped by 5. Intervention goes out, he should be at 60 right now. 65. 70. 75. 80. 85. 90. 95. Intervention goes out, he's at 50. Pause it. Taking into account that he overcapped by 5 earlier, which wouldn't have happened if he had used intervention during Cosmic Dive, he should be sitting at 50 right now. Perfect amount for...
See, this is a perfect example of how he doesn't know how to optimize. That's why you're rank 3. Yeah, it's you. Rank 3.
intervention. Also, the flare...
How many kills does he have again? Like 300? Imagine doing something 300 times and still losing. His whole 14 career, Twitch career, is just streaming top clears, and he still hasn't got rank 1. And then some dumbass, bald, idiot American that can't even pronounce Malachite comes in here and just shits all over his hard work. Ooh, I hate this guy. That's very funny.
Flares haven't gone off yet, so he has plenty of time to press it here. Hit play again. Flares finally snapshot. Damage goes out. Let's watch it again from when he would have gotten 50 gauge if he hadn't overcapped. I started the timer from when he would have hit 50 and ended it at when the meteor damage went out.
Okay.
Now, I checked in logs and the snapshot for the meteor damage is around 0.6 seconds before damage goes out. So that means that he would have had around 2 seconds to press intervention there. All of this is to say, yes, you absolutely have the gauge to use intervention during meteors.
Yeah, when I've cleared this on Paladin before, I always intervention the tank there.
Even if you use it on Cosmo Dive 2. Please, remind me again. What was it that you said?
You do not get enough gauge. You do not get enough gauge.
I don't know, Gov. Okay. Seems to me you do get enough gauge.
Okay.
Idiot.
What job does this guy main again? From my point of view, this guy's probably one of those jackasses that we all know at least one of.
I mean, I can say this. I know he doesn't main warrior because he's not number 1. So I know that he doesn't main warrior. Specifically warrior. Because he's not number 1.
One of those incredibly opinionated dipshits that just say shit without actually backing up anything they say.
Yes.
In their minds, you either do it their way or you get the f*** out of town. He's probably the kind of person to get pissed at you if you don't hang your toilet paper the same way they do. No wonder he thinks you wouldn't have enough gauge when he's holding on to that shit like it's the first time he's touched a pair of breasts. Anyway, let's see what else he has to say.
This video is 24 minutes?
Rather than just invoning Wave Cannon 1 and using Shake and Veil here. And then you have Healer 2 minutes and Temperance on or whatever here. But no, you don't have Temperance here because you put both of them on Meteors for no reason. This is not how you space out mitigation.
I'm glad he brought this up because this helps make our point. Previously, Temperance actually was on Wave Cannon 2. Wanna know what happened? People shit on us for it not being on Meteors. So we moved it to Meteors. And now we got dipshits like you shitting on us for it not being on Wave Cannon 2. But most importantly, the point I want to make is that no matter what you do, you're never gonna please everybody. Some troglodytes such as yourself is always gonna come out as bitching about how it's not to their liking. Everybody and their uncle's a critic nowadays. You can't please anybody.
I don't have a single issue with the MIT plan from the PF strats on NA. So I think it's a combination. I think it's because the strats, but also the simulator and the auto markers, the melon. With all those three, I think this fight is arguably easier than DSR. You cannot practice some of the hard stuff in DSR like you can practice in top. So ironically, Yoshi was right in the sense that Omega is as hard as DSR. They're the same difficulty because without him knowing, or maybe he did know, people were going to use a simulator and going to use auto markers. That is standard. I honestly do not think that people could clear reliably without that. Are there people that have done it without any tools? Obviously. I have. Some other people have. Yes. But do I think Party Finder could do it? No, I do not. I think that Sausage Roll and those guys and, you know, like Raiders like Sayori and other people like that, I think that they did an amazing job on, I guess, helping people, but mostly coming up with a common MIT plan. I mean, I don't know who came up with it, but just the fact that like group after group after group is all using this stuff, I think that it's really good and it's very helpful. I mean, I do have my complaints. I do have my small complaints, but overall, I think it's really good. And I've had success with this.
In the end, we decided to keep it on meteors, so that Scholar and Sage wouldn't have to change their MIT because they had Astro instead of White Mage. With our MIT sheet, I have to reiterate, this is with our MIT sheet. And again, nobody is saying, oh, you have to use it. We never claimed this was the most optimal way to MIT top. This is simply what we found to be the most consistent over helping hundreds of people clear for the first time.
He makes a really good point. Listen to what he says.
We never claimed this was the most optimal way to MIT top. This is simply what we found to be the most consistent over helping hundreds.
You see that? Consistent. Consistency is better than optimization. All the way. If you can consistently clear something, then you do not need that optimization. Sometimes optimizing actually makes the fight difficult, like even more difficult. Sometimes people will over-optimize for absolutely no reason. And I think it's because they want to feel like that they are smarter than other people, or that they need other people to think that they are better. When, as we all know, who you are as a person is actually indicated by your FFLogs. And considering that I'm rank 1. Yeah, I don't need to say anymore.
People clear for the first time. You can make changes too if you want. You don't have to use it. You can even dislike it. But dumb like you take this beyond just a MIT sheet and you make it personal. It's just plain insecurity. You're just insecure.
This is so funny. He is such an insecure little man. He did the same thing to me. He did the same thing to me. How old is this video? August 14th, 2003. So last year. The same attitude.
It's just plain insecurity. You're just insecure.
Is there a credits on here? Credits.
2023, whatever.
Who is this person? You better have some credentials or some shit, because I'm about to grill the shit out of you.
Oh boy, here we go.
Hell yeah.
I am sorry, but what the who gives you the right to tell people what to mitigate? When
you know who gives him the right? You know who gives him the right? I'll tell you who gives him the right. I give him the right. That's right. Rank 1 does. Rank 1 does, baby. That's who we got to say about that. Huh? What's that? What's that? I'm sorry. I can't hear people under rank 1. I'm sorry, bro. I can't hear it, dude. You're too far down there, man. You're too far down there.
You've done the fight 6 times in total.
This is probably my favorite part. Whenever they want to drive a point home, they always.
By the way, I'm only being cringe and constantly shitting on this guy because of his attitude. I don't actually give a shit if he's the best player or the worst player in the world, but I do give a shit that he has the mentality of a little dick, insecure little man.
Go to your logs. Saying shit like, oh, you better have some credentials. What, as if you're gonna change your mind about the whole thing if my logs were quote-unquote good.
This is crazy. This person really values the parse that high. And it's insane because this same person took like 6 weeks to clear this fight in the first place. This guy didn't even do blind prog. This guy literally just copy-pasted shit from groups like mine and Arthur's and all those guys that were progging the week 1 and week 2. This guy talks so much shit but actually can't back it up. Here is another thing too. Why would you care this much if it works? Like, if it is consistent for Party Finder, Why would you care? The only reason to care that I can think about is because you are insecure, is that you want people to think that you are some great player or some shit. Like, you need to be more confident in yourself as a player. This is like little bitch energy. Very fragile ego.
Nobody gave me the right to tell people what to mitigate. You shouldn't judge a myth sheet based on who made it, you dumbass. You should judge it based on its merit and whether or not it's good objectively.
I think I have the credentials to be, you know, criticizing this a little bit.
No, actually.
I mean, I actually disagree, because if you're going to try to critique this shit, then how about you prog better? This guy is a logs player first, prog player second, and it should actually be the other way around. Truly skilled players and anyone that actually is good at this game will always value prog over the logs. The logs will come naturally as you do the fight, as you optimize, but you always value the prog first.
You don't have the credentials to criticize it, you dumb. In case you haven't noticed, you're nobody too. You have 60 clears, you parse on Sage. You're nobody. Nobody knows who you are and nobody cares who you are. It's embarrassing, man. Get off your high horse. You wanna know what the bitch of it is? I didn't even make the mid sheet. My friends who made the sheet decided to put my name there because they knew the brain-broken pheromone repellents, like yourselves, would go after them for it. I, on the other hand, have not typed a single word onto that sheet. But since you care so much about your credentials, let's see who actually made it.
You know, to my knowledge, I have never heard of Sausage or BJ or this person ever acting like this. Oh man, hold on. Oh, say, can you see? Yeah, but what I was gonna say was that I've never heard of any of these people like have like bad drama or bad blood or shit on anybody.
The mid sheet was made by these 6, who each have over 100 kills on the fight. These players are all healers and tank mains, with one player who's even cleared the fight on every single job. They got these kills from helping first-time clears and C4-1s. They've won the fight more than you, and they have way more clears than you. 700 clears combined. Granted, some of the logs are repeats from being the same party. Most of them even parse better than you. Which I know you care about, because you're a brain-broken parser, and you're pathetic!
I can't wait to pass green because I'm with an Astro, and then they like make another blog post about it. I don't even care that we killed for these people, I'm not gonna lie. This person has...
Right there. Right there. Remember what I told you guys earlier? He is not helping you. He is helping himself. He doesn't give a fuck about you. He is purposely going with you because he knows that you're not as good, not as experienced, and he can get a good parse. That is why he's going with you. He doesn't care that you cleared. He doesn't. This is the hardest fight in the game. And this guy is going to help people clear. And this is his attitude. So just because he helps you, you have to understand something. He is helping you for a reason, okay? And that reason is because he knows that he can get good kill times with bad players. Or, okay, excuse me, with inexperienced players. That is why. Some of you in chat were like, oh, he helped me get the clear. That's good. He did help you. But he's not helping you. You are helping him way more than he is helping you. And I know this. I said this earlier, and this proves my point. I know how these people think, man.
I don't even care that we killed for these people, I'm not gonna lie. This person has a disease.
I don't even care that we cleared for these people. The person has a disease.
Is it Wubs, kun? Is it Wubs? If it's Wubs, I'm gonna go beat his ass, because that guy doesn't know how to heal in this game.
Again, I don't think resources in this game should be judged based on who made them, but rather based on the merit that they hold. And I'm gonna say this again, none of them are saying that this is the only way to mid top. None of them are claiming that this is the most optimal way to mid top. In fact, there's a lot of things that we put in there for safety. Yeah. And we have a few people who managed to get rank 1 on patch using this mid sheet. That should tell you how pointless parsing and the ranks that you're chasing after are. But if we're gonna go at this with your logic, you would have no credentials compared to them. You started raiding pretty much an endwalker, you don't world race, you don't hardcore prog, I even cleared top before you. You are the epitome of a Final Fantasy XIV Raider. You've deluded yourself into thinking your opinions matter more than they actually do. All because you can clear the fights in this game, which I have to say, it's not that impressive.
This guy is like the stereotypical parser. Like, it's kind of crazy that this person actually exists.
MMOs are piss easy to begin with compared to games like League of Legends or CSGO.
I bet you this mother has never cleared this fight without third-party programs.
Final Fantasy XIV? Doubly so. This is the retirement home of MMOs. Borrowing from your word, you don't just have a disease, you are the disease.
Want to double shield this fight? Here you go. Oh, I want to see this. Scholar Sage top.
Again, if we're gonna go off of credentials, I looked over your logs and you have what? 3 clears on double shield in 6.4? The 2 people who made this sheet have about maybe 30 kills combined in 6.3. Now, keep in mind that this sheet was not updated for 6.4, so it doesn't take into account a lot of the range changes for shit like Soil or Caracal. We haven't bothered updating it because it's not a huge priority for us, and if it worked in 6.3, then it's gonna work in 6.4. And yeah, is it optimal? Maybe not, but who the cares, man? We never claimed that it's optimal.
Okay, hang on, look. How do you edit these things? Stupid, man. Like, come on, use your head.
People watch this
This part
guy?
isn't that interesting. We looked over the changes that he made, and
This is cringe. He acts like this? This guy actually acts like this.
it's literally just moving 10%.
I've seen him in the directory. I have never watched his stream. I have never talked to this individual, and I don't ever intend to. I feel like if I talk to this individual, I will lose brain cells, and I don't have very many left, so I need to try to keep track of them as best I can.
Around. There's stuff that we didn't agree with, but that's just how people are. You're always going to think your own ideas are better. There's one part that I wanted to go over, and that's the P3 changes he made. Where pretty much he just put Soil and Caracal on everything.
No way. You don't have to spread load this. You have a Sage. You don't have to do that shit. You can actually just Soil again. It's crazy. I know. It's insane. Dude, look, wow. Now we have... How crazy is it? I just made it so P3 has no GCD shields.
Hey, douchebag! This sheet is from 6.3! You know how hard it was to get value out of Soil in 6.3?
I bet this guy is like the worst prog player. I bet this mother just griefs his prog groups like crazy.
During P3. Pretty much only used it on Hello World and Critical Error. You couldn't just put it on every single latent defect like you can now. Why the are you complaining about spread load being there? It's double shield in 6.3. Who gives a shit? We never said this was the optimal way to do it. You have a double shield clear from July where someone put spread load there. Someone from your ivory tower known as EU. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's a double shield. Who the cares? We're not parse monkeys like you. Anyway, and then when someone from his chat correctly assumed that we haven't updated the sheet yet for 6.4, this is what he had to say.
It's not updated? It definitely is. It is updated. It is updated. They're just stupid. They keep this shit up to date, because the last edited change on it was very recent.
No, dipshit, we don't keep this shit up to date. How would you even know? Isn't this supposed to be your first time seeing this shit? How the would you know when we made changes to it? You can't see when or what changes were made if you don't have edit access. So why don't I just show you what changes we actually made? Here I've got the mid sheet open. I'm gonna refresh it real quick so you know that I'm not with anything. And I'm gonna open it up on a second tab real quick. Give me a second. On the second tab, I'll show you the version history. Open it up on a second tab real quick. Give me a
You guys do this to me, so I'm doing it to him. Maps, Gmail, Outlook. Okay.
second. On the second tab, I'll show you the version history because I can do that because I have edit access. If you don't have edit access, you can't see this, so I don't know where he's pulling this shit from. Guy can't tell his ass from his mouth of how much bullshit he's saying. Look at that, no changes from May 8th until August. And the changes that were made were just to reformat shit. See? Look at that. P3. Everything's pretty much the same. I don't know why it says Soil, that should be Caracal, but yeah. No,
same thing. Caracal, Soil, whatever,
really
man.
added
It's
anything
whatever,
new since
dude. It's
6.3
Sage,
because they haven't done
Soil,
double
whatever,
shields since
man.
6.3. And if it worked in 6.3, it's gonna work in 6.4. And who the cares anyway? No one does double shield. You're just making shit up again like you did with Intervention in P6. You're getting mad at nobody and you want to make this about NA versus EU. You're fucking
Oh, wait,
loser,
it's
man.
your
Get along.
video, Yama?
After that, nothing really interesting.
Oh, no. You don't have to unprivate it or anything. No. No, we're just watching this because this guy tried to talk some shit, so now I'm like going down the rabbit hole of Requies Cat, and he's apparently an insecure, soft little...
Yep, and you just continue on shitting on the sheet and adding his own changes to it.
What? No. Wrong. Caracol. It reaches everyone.
Oh, brother, man, Bill, you are so insufferable. How can anyone stand to play with you? And this is coming from me. None of this shit matters, man. This is our pre-6.4. Your heals don't have 1 billion range, man. None of this shit matters, man. Holy.
Theo, can we not go to NA to do top? I really don't want to do this shit, man. This sucks. This is dog shit. This is so bad.
Not to worry, my guy. No one wants you here anyway. We're not chomping at the bits to roll out the red carpet for you.
This is so weird. Why would someone get so mad? And why is this guy acting so high and mighty? Like, bro, you cleared after all the VODs and MIT plan was already out. You didn't come up with any of this shit. You didn't even week 1 or week 2 prog, or at least hardcore. You didn't figure anything out on your own. You just copy pasted and now you're shitting on the people that did all the work for you. What is wrong with you? Actually insane.
Believe you me. In fact...
Attention players of continental Europe. We have a zero-tolerance policy on any and all foreign pathogens that of which could prove as a detriment to and therefore threaten the health and integrity of the Ether BF. If you are found to match said description, you will be escorted off the premises, post-haste, after which you will be deported to your region of origin. Refusing to cooperate will result in addition
That's
to
like a video.
fine, your arrest and subsequent imprisonment. You will be given your day in court, during which you will be tried and
Amen.
afterwards shot.
Amen,
These measures
brother.
are imperative to protecting the heritage and longevity of the North American server. We thank you for your cooperation and for your understanding. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and please stay the away from NA.
I just love all the freedom in this video, man. It just pleases me, man.
Anyway, moving on.
Do you know what I'm gonna do? If I go to NA, I'm gonna roll up with this. I'm just gonna start posting this in the I'm just gonna start posting this in the chat and say this is what I'm doing. Get
Yeah, that's gonna go over real well.
Yeah, that's nice.
Look, we can barely read our own shit, and you want us to read that so we can adjust to you? Nah, f off, man. Get the f out of here. Holy shit. I took a look at his pace bin, and honestly, I'm not that impressed. Except for a few spots where we put GCD heals and shields where you really don't need it. He's just moving 10% around. And the
Nah, I think that these people are just so obsessed with not playing safe. Like, one GCD heal or a shield is not going to make you enrage, man. If you're going to enrage, it's going to be from having a shit player, meaning that they don't know their rotation, or you're going to have a death. The DPS checks in this fight are not that hard. They're really not. And according to his mentality, he has to listen to me because I'm a number one. There can only be one. And that's me. Nah, you. No. You ain't even number 2. You're number 3. No, anyway.
reason why we have those things there is because we designed it for people who are newer. Because sometimes shit happens and people mess up. That way you're not wiping because dipshit McGee wanted to press 1 more doses instead of Eucrasian prognosis.
He makes a really good point here that newer players or people that aren't as comfortable, that means that you're going to have people that are learning their rotation. They don't exactly know the timing of the healing. So you want to err on the side of caution. Would you rather die to damage or 2, live to see enrage? If there's anybody that thinks that you should die to damage, please stop playing the game. You are bad. You need to reevaluate your shit. You want to see enrage. That is a good thing. That means that you did everything correctly. That means that you did all the mechanics. That means that you saw the end of the fight or the phase. The damage will come. You can then go back and say, well, you know what? We had way too many extra shields here. Let me pull one back. Now you kill it. See how easy that is?
It's also designed to be sort of an umbrella sheet where all 8 tanks and healers are interchangeable.
Yes.
As long as everyone else is following the sheet.
One of the really, really strong things about this MIT sheet is the fact that you can use any tank and any healer. This goes with the consistency. This plan, this idea, you want it to be as open as possible.
You can go in on any job you want, press the same buttons every single time, and expect not to die. On a case-by-case basis, yeah, for parsing it's not the most optimal for every single comp, but who the cares, man? We're just there to do the fight. You don't have to argue over who's mitting what. You just go in and do the fight.
Everyone's like, oh, dude, why is there so much PF success with top and DSR on EU compared to the other servers? Because we don't do this shit. We actually use our heads when it comes.
What is he talking about? There is a shit ton of success on PF, on NA. What is he talking about? As a matter of fact, I have heard from many people on EU that PF is miserable. I mean, I guess I've heard the same thing on NA, but how is EU so much better than NA? Like, what in the is this guy talking about? Man, get the out of here. Hey, NA is trash. La, 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 la. Man, get out of here.
To mitigation.
You are such a loser, man, trying to make it about NA versus EU again. Who the is saying, there's so much more PF success on EU versus the other regions? Nobody's saying that, man. Holy shit, you're making shit up again. And if they are saying that, they're just saying that because they want to believe that they're...
I mean, this guy is a confirmed liar. In these screenshots that I took of this idiot saying that I butchered my rotation and that I missed an inter-release window, you know, for someone so obsessed with FFLogs, you would think that you would actually check them. Like, why would you say that I made a mistake, which was clearly not correct, and you're so obsessed with FFLogs? That makes me wonder. So that either means that you, one, don't know how to read them, or two, that you're just a liar. I'm going to go with you're just a liar.
Region is better. They want to believe that there's such a huge difference between NA versus EU. It's pathetic. NAPFs aren't not clearing because they're dying of damage, you dumbass. They're dying because of mechanical execution. Out of curiosity, I watch a bit of your stream. God knows I'm not going to do that anymore. And you guys are dying to the same shit. You're dying to P3 Rot, you're dying to P4 Swaps, you're dying to P5 Delta, Sigma, Omega, you're dying to P6 Exas. I saw a VOD of yours recently where you went an entire lockout in top without going past P5 Delta. It's the same shit, but different region. For the record, I don't think NA is necessarily better than EU. I don't think the vice versa is true.
I agree. I don't think NA is better than EU. I don't think EU is better than NA. The fact that he's trying to make some EU versus NA comparison is very weird. But if you are trying to make an NA versus EU comparison, just remember that the rank 1 is NA. That's right. With bald eagles, tanks, freedom. That's why. Because, oh, say, can you see? That's why.
Either. I know amazing
JP?
players from both regions, which you, unfortunately, are not one of them.
JP?
And of course, there are shitters too in both
Nah, they don't PF.
regions. And of course, NA has over double the players EU has, so of course there's going to be more players playing in PF on NA, so that means you're going to hear more horror stories about NA. There's like, what, 20 players on EU? So of course you're going to think there's more success on EU, because you're just playing with the same 7 people every time. I'm making a joke, of course, but it's just plain confirmation bias. You think NA is worse, and you want to feel superior, and obviously you're compensating for something. You hear about people having a bad time on NA, and let's be honest to ourselves, most of the time people who complain about that shit are the people causing the problems in the first place. And you're choosing to ignore all the bad parties that you've had on EU. But if you really want, we can look at actual numbers. On screen, I'm showing you the data set that I pulled from...
Woo! Before today, I've never heard of this guy. This guy reminds me of this old balance mentor named Iman. He was a very ass-hurt individual that also hated me because he did not believe that I deserved the fame that I had, my internet fame, because he deemed himself better than me. And he was a spreadsheet type of guy. And the funny thing is a majority of his information that he actually got from me. He just tried to steal it and change it a little bit so that it looked like that he made it. Anyway, okay, so these are the clear rates.
It said that I pulled from Lucky Boncho, which shows the clear rate of top and abyssals from each region and data center. I've then taken the number of clears of each world of their respective region and added them together in a Google Sheet. On EU, there are 19,416 clears of abyssals, while NA has double that at 39,871. Taking a look at top, EU is sitting at 1,468. NA, 3,298. While it's impossible to know how many of these clears came from a PF versus a static, you can safely assume that both regions will follow the same trend since the dataset is so large. Obviously, we can't look at these numbers by totality since NA has double the players EU has.
So it should.
But if you were to look at the percentage of how many people clear top after clearing abyssals, NA beats out EU at 8.27% versus 7.56%. Do these numbers necessarily mean anything? At least in regards to which region is better. No, I don't think so. The difference is...
All this is a guideline. This isn't definitive at all, but this will give you a rough idea. That's all this is, which I'm pretty sure he's about to say, but this will give you a rough idea. This doesn't actually mean that NA is better. This doesn't mean that EU is shit or is better. This is just a rough idea.
It's so small, it doesn't really hold any significance. And I'm saying that even though NA is beating EU here. All I'm saying is that there's no empirical evidence to at all suggest that one region is better than the other when it comes to PF.
Yeah, so apparently he said that these numbers were based on the percentage of players that cleared Abyssos and then went into top.
Every person I've spoken to who's not a superior little dingleberry who's played on both regions has said the same thing to me. Other than your region's weird aversion to doing clear for once because you think it's like buying a clear, which I'm not going to get into here, but I think you guys are weird for that. There's
Just a quick question. What MIT plan does EU use, actually? LPDU. Okay, I'm not familiar with their MIT plan. Okay, so this is their MIT plan. How different is it from, I mean, I guess we can take a look at it. I'm just genuinely curious because the one that NA uses, it's interchangeable.
There's no difference between the two regions. It's the same shit, different week.
We don't do 611. We don't need to do 611. You know why we don't need to do 611? Because we actually spread our MIT out properly in P6 and P7. The only reason NA does 611 is because the healers want to parse. They have no reason for doing that shit.
I actually think 233 is actually safer than 611. I do. But I think that it makes P6 easier because I've seen a lot of people die to the cauterize. And I think that having to go to a different tower each time, you will have deaths. And I know that you will have deaths because I have been in the party where you have had deaths. Okay?
This is really the last thing I wanted to address, which is his weird obsession with 611 and DSR. First off, amazing voice crack. Love it. Huge fan. His statement that 611 is only for parsing is just not true. Again, we do it for safety because it makes P7 so much easier to heal for healers in P7. Not everyone's a parse monkey like this guy is. Yeah, it makes it a little harder for tanks in P6 because they have to be the one to set it up, but how many times have you died in P7 to second Akmorn because maybe your healer is new, or maybe they missed something, or maybe a mid is missing? And also, this frees up mid that we would have put on Akmorn that we can put on Gigaflare, which also hurts a lot. 611, objectively, is better for healers in P7. His statement that 611 is only for parsing, it doesn't really make
that
sense,
is true.
considering that we put GCD here.
No, I agree with that. And right when 611 was first introduced, it is better for healers because you have more stuff. However, it comes at a cost. Human error will always be there. So you want to try and mitigate the human error as much as you can. And how do you eliminate that human error? You take away lines of thinking. The more that you are on autopilot, the more that you do the same thing every time, in my experience, is better. Just don't go to the wrong tower, forehead. You have to understand that in that phase, people are panicking. They're not thinking. But because they have to think about that, that one extra line of thinking can cause you to f up.
And shields, places where we may not need it for safety. Ultimately, I don't think he believes that EU doesn't need 611 because they space out mid better. I think it ties back to parsing, and he's just butthurt because his region doesn't do 611.
I think he just wants to disagree to make himself sound smarter. I mean, he's a very insecure person. This is classic insecurity.
We don't need 611 at all. I guess it helps healers pass. But who the f gives a f about healers?
Where was it that he said, I don't even care. This Astro's gonna This guy isn't even consistent with his lying. I don't know. He said it somewhere. It's on here in the video. He's like shitting on this guy for being his co-healer, and then he says he has a disease.
Every time he brings up 611, it's about parsing.
Yeah, like right at the start of PF, we tried to make it standard, and people couldn't do it, so we didn't do it.
By his own admission, they tried to make it standard on EU, but his region couldn't do it. His region can do 611. Now he sits there coping about how EU is better because EU knows how to space out mid better, so they don't need 611. But if you knew how to space out mid better, your tanks would know how to do 611. But in the end, it's not even about that.
I mean, that is true. That's true. That's true because it makes P6 harder. Okay, because you got to admit that cauterized.
He hates 611 because his region doesn't do it, so
I
he
believe
can't
that.
parse.
I believe
it all
that.
goes back to
Yep.
parsing, and it all goes back to wubs.
Is it wubs, cum? Is it wubs? If it's wubs, I'm gonna go beat his ass, because that guy doesn't know how to heal in this game.
Here, let me pull up fflogs and show you something. I promise you, this will be really funny. Let's go to Ultimates. Dragon Song's Reprise, ranking. Let's rank by damage. All jobs. Sage. And let's look at 6.3. Oh, look at that! He lost to Wubs! Now let's look at 6.4.
He's so mad, bro. He's so mad, dude. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys something really funny. I'm gonna show you guys something really funny. You guys are gonna love this. This is gonna be so funny. Let's go damage. Let's go warrior. Uh-oh. Oh, that's gotta be so infuriating. That's gotta be so infuriating, bro. That's really funny.
Or there he is, losing to Wubs again.
Damn.
This guy has been losing to Wubs for 2 patches in a row, and he's mad. He's mad. You know what? Let's look at 6.28.
This is extremely funny. This is extremely funny because he is acting the exact same now as he was back then. What a little dick dude. Holy shit. Oh, this is actually funny. This guy's on Sarg too. Holy shit, man. This guy's just getting shit on all over by Sargatanas players. Yo, go Wubs.
Look at that. There he is. Losing to Wubs yet again.
Damn.
Every time you bring up
Oh,
Parser.
hey, is that Wave, dude? Yo, remember Wave?
Your co-healer is doing like 2-3 GCDs in an Ixtical, and they are not healing enough, and you are straining them. And I'm just sitting there in the moment. I'm thinking to myself, like, 3 GCD heals. That is not the full mana pool, but you know, it's Rin Karagane. Like, what can I say to the man? You know?
Yo, he needs to hit Wave up, bro, for some tips, man. Yeah. Yo, let's go, dude.
There he is. Losing to Wubs yet again. Every time you bring up parsing and DSR, it's always about Wubs and how he only beats you because he's using 611 and how he's a shit healer. We've even got people from LPDU telling us how you
Damn, a person's so obsessed with this.
won't
Crazy.
stop coping about Wubs and 611. You're a obsessed fan. You can't keep him out of your mouth.
Who is Wubs? I'm sorry, I don't know these people, man. Wubs is a part of the Clear Squad in Sausage Rolls group, an FF player. Holy, oh my god. Oh my god, holy shit. Really? He's an FF player? We got a detective in the chat. Oh my lord, how did you come up with that information? Jesus Christ, did you have like your notepad out? Did you actually go scout? Are you like some scientist with a lab coat? And you got your beakers and okay, we got FFLogs here, got weeb shit here. It's a Final Fantasy game. Holy shit, dude. We got a chemist detective in the chat. No shit!
I get it, dude. I totally get it. You feel emasculated because he beat you in 6.28 by 107 RDPS. And then he did it again in 6.3 by 70 RDPS. And then again in 6.4 by 200 RDPS. He did it on a job with no raid buffs, and wow, 200 RDPS difference? On a healer? He only could have done this with 611, of course! In the end, there's nothing else I really want to say except that I think you should cut back on your weird obsession with our region. This region tribalism is stupid. It's even dumber than MMO tribalism like WoW versus Final Fantasy XIV. As far as I can tell, nobody on NA really hates EU. And plus, we have a lot of players from EU playing on NA. You just sound like a loser when you try and make it about NA versus EU. If someone from NA did what you did, I would call them a loser too.
Yeah.
My final advice to you is just to watch what you say before you say something you'll regret.
Whoa, whoa!
It's over. Bros.
Dude.
I can't believe this. Who ran in early?
This
Oh.
Nah, I'm not going to go back and play that. Okay, I'm going to give this video a like. Okay, anybody that wants to see this video, this was a very good video. This was a very entertaining video.